In the previous example, when we were talking about alkane, it is said that we have to consider the prefix and then the suffix. The prefix here, met, tells us that the number of carbon atom, okay, in this kind of alkane is 1, while on it, okay, it has 2, while on but it has 4. And then the A and E, as the suffix, tells us that they belong to an alkane group, okay, alkane, which has a single bond of carbon to carbon atoms, right? So if we're going to draw the methane, since it has 1 carbon, it will only look like this, right? And then of course you have the hydrogen here, and also here. For ethane, since it has 2 carbon, will look like this. And then of course the hydrogens are attached onto the carbon atoms. For butane, so 4 carbons, it looks like 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Okay, and then the hydrogens are attached also to the carbon atoms. We can also represent this, okay, especially the butane, using the skeletal. So if there are 4, it should be 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's count it. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now each segment or end represents the presence of carbon atoms. Okay, this carbon atom, okay, is placed here, the second one is here, the third is here, and then the fourth one is obviously here. Now the hydrogens are bonded to each of the carbon atoms. Okay, in the structural formula, we still include it if we write it in the structural formula. But when we do the skeletal, so this is the skeletal. When we do it, we do not indicate the hydrogens anymore. Okay, it is already understood, okay, that at the end of this line, that there are carbon atoms as well as hydrogen atoms. Right? Now let us write the structure for 2-methylpropane. Okay, now let's examine this entry. Right? So the word 2-methylpropane will reveal us that the suffix A and E tells us that it belongs to an alkane and has a single bond of carbon to carbon atoms. The prop tells us that there are 3 carbon atoms here. Okay, let me write it down. The prop, okay, tells us that there are 3 carbon atoms, right? And then the 2-methyl, let me write it down first, okay, tells us that there is a metal attached, okay, located on the second carbon. Again, the 2-methyl tells us or indicates that there is a metal compound attached on the second carbon. So if you will illustrate it using the structure formula, it looks like this. Okay, so if you number the carbons as 1, okay, 2, and 3, right, we can now find or attach the 2-methyl. So we can find it here, right? So again, the 2-methylpropane, the A and E represents or indicate that it is an alkane, okay, which has a single bond of carbon to carbon atoms. The prop tells us that it has 3 carbon atoms, and the 2-methyls indicate that there is a metal compound attached to the second, this is the second carbon atom of the compound. Right? So we can also write this using the skeletal or the line formula. It will look like this. Okay, so if we number it, we have 1, 2, and then 3. So this is the first carbon, it's here. The second one is here. Then the third one, okay, this is it. And then where do we attach the 2-methyl? On the second carbon. So, dito natin siya ilalagay. Right? Now, let us try 2,4-dimethylhexane. So, again, if we're going to examine this, okay, the A and E will tell us here, this is the A and E, that it belongs to an alkane which has a single bond. The hex tells us or indicates that it has 6 carbon atoms, right? 6 carbon atoms. Now, the 2 and 4 represents the location of the substituent or yung tinatawag nating branch, right? Kung nasaan sila makikita sa pangalawang carbon at pang-apat na carbon. And then the methyl, this is the compound that is attached on number 2 and number 4 carbon of the parent chain. The word di means there are two methyl. Okay? 2 methyl. So, ibig sabihin, pag sinabi natin dimethyl, dalawa yung ating methyl. So, how are we going to write that? So, it will look like this. So, there are 6 carbon atoms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. Since it's an alkane, single bond, don't forget this. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, how about the methyl compound? Dalawa yung methyl kasi dimethyl. Okay? They are located at 2 and 4. So, let us number the carbon. So, let me put 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So, where are we going to place the first methyl? It should be placed, okay, on the second carbon. Dito natin siya ilalagay. Okay? How about the second methyl? It will be placed here. Okay? So, it will read as 2, 4, okay, dimethyl, dalawa yung methyl natin dito, hexane. Hexane because the longest parent chain has 6 carbon atoms. Right? Now, you might be wondering, can I do it the other way? Ibig sabihin, dito ako maglalagay ng number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, 5, and 6. Meaning, this is, I would like to consider this as my first carbon and this one as my last or the 6th carbon. Possible kaya yon? So, hindi siya pwede kasi meron tayong rule pagdating sa writing ng alkane, we have to consider, okay, that the substituent with the lower number should be the priority. Okay? Now, what do I mean by that? Tingnan natin ha. So, let's count. Let us consider, let's say, ito yung ating beginning. So, first carbon atom, second carbon atom, third carbon atom. The third carbon atom, nandoon si ating substituent na methyl. Right? The next one, we have 4 and 5 or 5th. Now, kung i-compare natin ito dun sa nauna, which is this one, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, okay, si methyl, naka-attach siya kay second carbon, at saka kay 4. So, anong sabi natin kanina? Substituents with the lower number should be prioritized. Okay, kung saang branch sila na mayroong lower number, yun ang ipaprioritize natin. So, sa kaso na to, 2 ay mas mababa compare sa 3. Right? At mas bababa na din hamak ang 4 compare dun sa 5. So, pag nilagay mo dito, ito ang iyong 3 and I ask you to name this compound, ang isinulat mo ay 3,5-dimethylhexane, mamamalian ka na. Why? Because you have to consider the branch or the substituent that is placed or located in the lowest number, okay, on the end. Kung nasaan yung dulong pinakamababa. So, ito yung pinakadulong may mababa sa case na to. Now, let's do methylcyclopentane. So, again, let us examine the entries here. So, the A and E, there's an A and E at the end, tells us that it's an alkane. And if it's an alkane, meron siyang single bond. Okay? And then, the pent tells us that it has 5 carbon atoms. And then the cyclo, right, tells us that it is in ring or arranged in ring. And then the methyl, of course, that is the substituent or the branch. Okay? Now, since walang nakalagay na number, it is, assume natin, okay, na 1 ito, and it is placed in number 1 carbon. Right? So, these two, the pent and the cyclo, or the cyclopent, okay, should be represented by drawing a pentagon. So, how does it look like? Yan. Okay. So, if we're going to number 8, say, at ito yung number natin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So, don't get misled by thinking of ring should be circle. Hindi, Okay, we have to follow the number of the size. So, this time, we have pent, which corresponds to 5. And the cyclo corresponds to ring. So, dapat magiging pentagon to. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, the methyl should be placed here sa number 1. Okay? Again, pag sinabi natin cyclo, this will tell us, okay, this word will tell us that the compound is structurally arranged, okay, in a ring like this. Okay? So, don't get confused that when you see the word ring, okay, it doesn't always pertains to a circular one. Right? Pag itong ginawa mo, mali na yun. Right? Okay, now.